So this is Miss Polari at Lake Mineola High School Speech and Language class. All right, this is lesson 5. So I'm going to read chapter 3. Now, the title of this book, this chapter is 7 Cures for a Lean Purse. I'm going to read it. I'm going to go over some vocabulary words and I might ask you some questions. I'm not going to read the entire chapter because it will take too long, so we'll split this up into 2 sections, okay? So get ready. And the setting of the story is still in Babylon. The glory of Babylon endures. Down through the ages, its reputation comes to us as the richest of cities, its treasures as fabulous. Yet, it was not always so. The riches of Babylon were the results of the wisdom of its people. They first had to learn how to become wealthy. When the good king Sargon, what's the name of this new character? Sargon, returned to Babylon after defeating his enemies, the Elamites, he was confronted with a serious situation. The royal chancellor explained it to the king like this. Okay, already. We're coming up. We have a new character. What is his name? King, what? I hear somebody raising. Do I hear somebody saying the answer? King Sargon, new character. And there's a problem. So write down what this problem is. So we know the setting, new character, and a problem. After many years of great prosperity, what's prosperity? Success, brought to our people because your majesty built the great irrigation canals and the mighty temples of the gods. Now that these works are completed, the people seem unable to support themselves. There's a problem. They seem unable to support themselves. The laborers are without employment. The merchants have few customers, and the farmers are unable to sell their produce. The people have not enough gold to buy food. They don't have enough what? Money, gold. They don't have enough money. There's a problem. Apparently, it's not just Banzir and Kobe's problem. It's a whole city of Babylon problem. But where has all the gold gone that we spent for these great improvements? Demanded the king. It has found its way, I fear, responded the chancellor, into the possession of a few very rich men of our city. It filtered through the fingers of most of our people as quickly as the goat's milk goes through the strainer. Now that the stream of gold has ceased to flow, most of our people have nothing to show for their earnings. The king was thoughtful for some time. Then he asked, why should so few men be able to acquire the gold? Because they know how, replied the chancellor. One may not condemn a man for succeeding because he knows how. Neither may one with justice take away from a man what he has fairly earned to give it to men of less ability. So the problem is that only a few men in the city are very wealthy. And they're very wealthy because they learned the secret to becoming wealthy. They learned how to acquire gold and money. And they rightly earned that. But why, demanded the king, should not all the people learn how to accumulate gold? Oh, there's that word from the last chapter. What is accumulate? What? Somebody's raising their hand. What's accumulate? To gather, right? Accumulate gold and therefore become themselves rich and prosperous. Prosperous, wealthy, kind of like prosperity. Quite possibly, Your Excellency, but who can teach them? Certainly not the priests, because they know not of money and making. Who knows best in all the city how to become wealthy, Chancellor? Asked the king. So here the king is asking, who in the city knows best on how to acquire money? The questions answer itself, Your Majesty. Who has amassed the greatest wealth in Babylon? Here is a new word, amassed. Amassed is also accumulate or gathered. So we have some synonyms. Who do you think has acquired the greatest wealth in Babylon? You guessed it. Well said, my able chancellor. It is Arcad. Arcad appeared before him straight and sprightly despite his 80 years and 10. Arcad spoke the king. Is it true thou art the richest man in Babylon? And Arkad responds, so it is reported, Your Majesty, and no man disputes it. What's dispute? Dispute is to disagree or debate something. How beautiful, oh no, how becamest thou so wealthy? By taking advantage of opportunities available to all citizens of our good city. Thou hadst nothing to start with, only a great desire for wealth. Besides this, nothing. I just had a desire to be wealthy and successful. Arkad, continued the king, our city is in a very unhappy state because a few men know how to acquire wealth and therefore monopolize it, while the mass of our citizens lack the knowledge of how to keep any part of the gold they receive. What is to monopolize? Ding, 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 ding. Monopolize, to control, to take over. So only a few people have control over the businesses or the money in this city. And you'll hear that word in our society, like only a few companies kind of like having a monopoly over certain businesses. They've gained knowledge and they've gained control over it. So that's what it means. It is practical, Your Majesty. That which one man knows can be taught to others. So basically, tell me, Arkad, said the king, is there any secret to acquiring wealth? Can it be taught? And Arkad said, yeah, it can absolutely be taught. The king's eyes glowed. Arkad, thou speakest the words I wish to hear. Wilt thou lend thyself to this great cause? Wilt thou teach thy knowledge to a school for teachers, each of whom shall teach others, until there are enough trained to teach these truths to every worthy subject in my domain? Arkad bowed and said, I am thy humble servant to command. That means yes. Whatever knowledge I possess will I gladly give for the betterment of my fellow men and the glory of my king. What is betterment? For the word better is in there, betterment. It's for the improvement or to make others better, betterment. So the word better is in betterment. So in order to help others improve is the word betterment. Let your good chancellor arrange for me a class of 100 men, and I will teach to them those 7 cures which did fatten my purse, then which there was none leaner in all Babylon. Okay, a fortnight later, in compliance with the king's command, the chosen 100 assembled in the great hall of the Temple of Learning, so their university. Seated upon colorful rings in a semicircle. Arkad sat beside a small taboret upon which smoked a sacred lamp, sending forth a strange and pleasing odor. What is sacred? What? Sacred. What's sacred? It means holy. So this incense, this smell, this holy incense. Behold the richest man in Babylon, whispered a student, nudging his neighbor as Arkad arose. He is but a man even as the rest of us. As a dutiful subject of our great king, Arkad began, I stand before you in his service, because once I was poor youth who did great desirely gold, and because I found knowledge that enabled me to acquire it. He asks that I impart unto you my knowledge. I started my fortune in the humblest way. I had no advantage, not enjoyed as fully by you and every citizen in Babylon. So he goes on to say that to you who are assembled before me shall I explain the 7 cures for a lean purse, basically how to acquire wealth, which I do recommend to all men who desire much gold. Each day, for 7 days, will I explain to you one of the 7 remedies. Okay, so Arkad, the solution here is Arkad gathered 100 men at the school for learning, their university, and for 7 days he was going to teach one of the cures to a lean purse, or the 7 remedies, but only one per day. How many per day? 1. Listen attentively to the knowledge that I will impart. Debate it. What does debate mean? To discuss it with me. Discuss it amongst yourselves. Learn these lessons thoroughly, that ye may also plant in your own purse the seed of wealth. First must each of you start wisely, to build a fortune of his own. Then wilt thou be competent. Remember competent. What is competent? A master and expert in the area. And only then to teach these truths to others. So basically, he wanted them to prove themselves. He wanted them to first be able to acquire wealth and actually do it, be competent in it before they were to teach others. The first cure, start thy purse to fattening. So he began to ask everybody what they did for a living. Some were bread makers, some were scribes, some were record keepers, some were butchers, some were merchants. Everybody had their own skills. And he basically taught them that a tenth of all they earned was theirs to keep. What was that number one law? A tenth of all you earn is yours to keep. That is how you start your purse in fattening. First, you have to have a job. Well, they all have a job. But what they didn't do is they spent everything. Now, he gave them a lesson that if you had 10 eggs and you took one egg and you put it aside and you saved it and you sold those 9 eggs, and the next day you took one egg from your earnings and you put that one egg in the savings and you sold the other 9 eggs, what would eventually happen to that one egg, that 10% of the eggs that he was saving? It would grow. That wealth would grow. So he said the first cure is start thy purse to fattening. Make it grow by keeping 10% of all you make. That was the first rule on day 1. All right, you guys. So I'm going to stop right there. I don't want this video to be short, and I will continue with the next cure. But there's some vocabulary words that were introduced, some from last week. So I'm going to see if you guys know it. And I don't just want you to Google it, because I'll know if you give me the definition from dictionary.com. What did I say in my video was a definition. Use your own words. So the setting stays the same. We introduced a new character in the story. Several characters, right? Who were they? The King Sargon, Chancellor, right? And Arkad. And what was the problem? That the whole city, they didn't have enough money. And there was only a few men who had the secrets to wealth. So that was the problem. What was the solution? The king asked Arkad to teach his teachers how to acquire money. That was another solution. What did Arkad do? Arkad took how many men? 100 men. And he told them, and he began to teach one cure, one rule per day. But he's telling them, you can't teach others until you become competent. What is competent? When you're a master or an expert in something. All right. Wait for the assignment, okay? And we'll continue to read and learn the secrets to becoming wealthy.